1, 2, 3, what? What I mean, what do you mean 1, 2, 3? What am I counting down to? All right, here we go. Here you go. Ready? All right. So we are in my conference room at Afsar Law Group with the wonderful Heather. I mean, it's almost like I want to say your like handle as your name, but it's
that's how I introduce myself.
Whole thing?
Hi, I'm Heather Just Create.
Like when you meet people in the street, do you go straight to Heather Just Create?
Yeah,
like
because they're gonna Google you.
That's interesting. So like
Instagram's that, Twitter's that, YouTube's that, Facebook's that, Heather Just Create. That's all you need to know.
So is Just Create your middle name, or is it Heather Just Create all one name?
Heather Just Create, the handle came as a note to myself to get myself out of my own head. And it's just the handle.
No, that's interesting because you say it. I mean, we're not even supposed to be diving in, but look at me. I can't help myself because this topic for me is actually a tough one because I don't think people necessarily want to follow a law firm. Like my handle is Afsar Law Group.
Oh,
go ahead.
I have thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, and so I'm sure you do. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I don't think people necessarily want to follow Afsar Law Group. It doesn't sound like a good time. Afsar is not easy to spell. When people hear Law Group, they're not like, woo, Instagram, you know? Yeah. But, I mean, that is what I am and who it is, so that's the name. Thoughts?
I see what you're trying to do. As a marketer and a vlogger, I think that Afsar Law Group as the channel name, before people even get to your channel, already puts a perception in people's mind, like you said, which I think works against you. So I would think, like, if I saw whoever law group, I'm going to go there because I have questions about the law, like serious questions about the law. You're trying to do this completely unique perspective, which is more personable, it's more relatable. You know, you have a whole brand that you're trying to build, which is great, but I think owning it as Amir Afsar or Afsar something else, as just like, this is my brand, and P.S. I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
It's yeah.
Like
so hold on. Let's stop.
Stop
the recording. I'm gonna go get my. We're gonna change it. No, I mean I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
You know, I totally don't disagree with you.
I think it's definitely an angle and a distinctive. It's something that you should, you know, it's something that should be there. I like that, but I don't think it should be the lens of which people discover you, because then there's this like. There's a period where people are going to have to try to figure stuff out.
All right, so that's
thanks
sense? For tuning in. This has been very educational. No, but seriously, I mean, this is why I wanted to have you come here today. Going back to kind of the introductory type stuff, we've met, and this will be my version. I'll let you share your version of how we met. We met because I feel like for a while I've been on this island. And I look over at the camera when I say this because it's the island of vlogging in the Coachella Valley. I don't want to act like I'm the only one. I know there's a couple others. But maybe I think we kind of put on a consistent show, weekly. They're not, right? It's supposed to be weekly. And we do the best we can to keep it weekly, right? And there's not that many other people, in my opinion, doing that.
It's an empty island.
And then...
Whoa.
Yeah, I see purple hair, right? No, in all seriousness, I think I came across your husband because... Oh, sorry, I keep doing that. Maybe I'm sending a message to Tom that I don't even realize.
I am.
Right? Yeah. Ding, ding, hello. Anyways, the boyfriend for now. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's a teacher, right?
He's a digital media production teacher at Indio High School.
Okay, so I think a friend of mine also is an administrator at Indio High School.
Oh, cool.
And I think had talked to me about potentially coming to speak there.
Oh, very cool.
Because I've spoken at some of the other local high schools. And then it's never really happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fast forward to you're working with a project with a mutual friend of ours, Stephanie.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, well, who's making that for her? And that's literally where the purple hair comes from. And then I kind of started watching a couple of your things, and I'm thinking, she must be from out of town.
Yes.
And then you're not.
Well, yeah. So.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
So, I mean, simply put, I reached out like, hey, you're on YouTube, I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
What do you think of my stuff? Let's talk.
Yeah.
And it was cool that you were open to that idea.
Oh, totally.
So I'm kind of curious when someone gets a DM from the Afsar Law Group. What was your perception of how we've sort of met?
Well, for me, so I'm from Long Beach. I recently moved here because I actually met my boyfriend Tom on YouTube.
It's all Tom's fault still.
Yeah, he invited me to check out his program, and my the thing I'm doing on my YouTube channel is I'm documenting my entrepreneurial journey and promoting digital literacy. He has a digital literacy program, and we just kind of, fast forward, I fell in love with him, and we live here now. Or I moved in with him.
So like YouTube is your Match.com.
Oh, totally.
That's
100%.
amazing.
And then that's my thing is like, I love YouTube, I love digital media, I love new media, and my thing is I want to get as many people to be sharing their story because of how much it's changed my life. And it all started out with working at a high school. I saw these kids like being told to get off their phone. I was like, you could be using this thing positively and productively. You can make money off of this thing. How do we, like, there needs to be a resource kind of showing you and guiding you to do things the right way. And anyway, so I have been doing this 2.5 years. I have over 450 videos on my vlog channel.
Oh, 450?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, I've just been documenting ever since April 16, 2016. That was when I was, I had put in my resignation letter at my job, 10-year career in marketing, and just was like, I have no idea how to start a business, but that's why I'm interested in watching this journey. So I decided to document it, and it just like picked up. Fast forward to meeting Amir. I've met, I can't tell you how many hundreds, possibly thousands of creators on this journey. I've gone to VidCon twice. I go to networking events and creator events and collaborations and all of that all the time. Being here in the Coachella Valley, there's no one doing it. I'm from Long Beach, holding the camera in front of your face, walking down 2nd Street or downtown Long Beach. It's still different, but it's not as abnormal as if you do it here. Like, if you do it here, everyone's like, what the hell? Purple hair?
If
like,
you do it here, you're an alien.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. And I asked Tom, I was like, there's no one else. Are you sure there's no one else, like, besides your kids who obviously, have
you know what's
cameras?
crazy about this idea, though, is that we live in, like, an incredibly beautiful backdrop.
I know! That's what I told Tom, because he felt so bad pulling me away from the beach.
Like it might be 70 degrees and cold today, but if I throw shorts and a t-shirt on, I could totally sell that it's 85. I mean,
it's beautiful.
There's not a cloud in the sky,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
It's beautiful here.
It seems insane.
And I love the Coachella Valley. It's really open, welcome me with open arms. There's a lot of awesome stories here. Naturally, this demographic being a little bit older, people have I've learned so much.
That was very gentle, a little bit older.
I'm still trying to, because I meet a lot of people. Maybe I have yet to spend time on the other side of the valley where it is a lot more older.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm just happy that I'm not alone in doing this, because that's my mission, is to encourage other people to do it. So to know that there is someone who is, before we push record, who looks different, is doing something different, has a different angle, it's a different story that's doing this. It's great.
Yeah, because I'm definitely not dyeing my hair purple.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm definitely not going to be a lawyer, which is like that.
I've been debating
cool.
dyeing my hair just because the gray is getting a little much, but purple's never really been on the table.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, that is part of why I wanted to do this sort of like conversation with you, is because we couldn't look any more different, and to the extent that lawyer puts me in this nice box, right? And part of this is kind of pushing myself out of that box.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, for me, we talked a little bit how your work. You use the phrase new media.
New media.
Okay, what does that mean to you? Let's go to that real quick.
So digital media is anything digital, right?
Does that mean the internet?
The internet. CDs, I know they're not a thing anymore, but anything like digital that could be digitally transferred, okay?
Okay.
New media, the way that it's different, digital media is the bigger umbrella. New media is searchability, is on-demand accessibility, is the fact that anyone could be watching your vlog content, whatever content, social media content, 24/7, anywhere in the world. That is the beauty and the difference between new media. And I think that's, when people are not digitally literate, they're using social media.
They're scared. That's scary what you just said. It's not scary to you.
Right, because I jumped in.
But I have a good friend of mine that loves to text me, I'm watching Unbillable, and then immediately right behind it, with no pants on. Right? And obviously, I believe he's kidding. Better be kidding. I believe he's kidding, but to the extent that what you just described is people can be watching this anywhere, anytime, I think some people get a little creeped out about it.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. And that's why you do have to go into it knowing the dangers, and there's a lot of negativity that can come with that. But like any tool, there's a positive and there's a negative, and if you learn how to use this thing positively. I mean, I just had someone from Malaysia discover my channel and tell me, thank you for inspiring me, da 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 da, and I'm never gonna meet that person, but the fact that my vlog from 2 years ago, he discovered a video that's 2 years old, made an impact on him, is so it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I can make an impact.
So that's an interesting perspective, because the impact is different for every vlogger, for every channel. I mean, what they're trying to do, everything from the kids that sort of, I mean, I guess they record themselves playing video games, which this is something I find amazing. I played video games as a kid. Nobody wanted to watch me play. Like, your friends never wanted to wait their turn, right? They always wanted to play. But now it's like a thing to record your gamesmanship, right? And then to post that. And I find it amazing that people will sit there and watch, because, like, in our generation, my generation, I should say, my closest friends wouldn't watch me play, much less a complete stranger. But going back to the original point, every channel has its own goal, but impact seems to kind of be universal.
Yeah, and that's why I love YouTube, is because there literally truly is room for everybody, because everyone has their own unique story. Even two lawyers doing YouTube, no one is going to have your life experience, no one's going to have your angle, your perspective, and who that makes an impact on takes time to figure out, because you don't know what, you might go in thinking, okay, these are who I'm targeting, but you don't know who eventually it's going to resonate with.
That's for sure, because sometimes I talk about, people ask me why I make my vlog, and I without really thinking, one time I responded like, I'm just trying to change the public's perception of lawyers, make like lawyers cool again, like make lawyers great again, right? Kind of thing. But what makes me think my little channel, my little vlog would ever be able to make that kind of impact, right? Like that is significant. Like, could it maybe drive someone to call my office because they see my video, they search Palm Springs or whatever, and they come across me? Great, that's awesome. But if it doesn't actually do something to sustain or change the perception, then why am I going, in my opinion, to like this new medium? I could just run the same, like, without me you're screwed ads that all, like, most lawyers are used to running, right?
Right.
Like, if you don't call me today, like, you're really gonna put yourself in a, behind the 8 ball, and then it's gonna be too late. And then when you call me, I won't even take your case. So call me now. Like, that's just, first of all, it's not me. I mean, you almost hear me doing that weird voice, right?
Yeah.
Because for my journey, that was part of it, was figuring out what is, I mean, I used to say, like, being the lawyer versus playing the lawyer. Like, I used to literally turn the corner out into the front office and kind of, like, take a breath and go, and be like, hello. And I always do this little head jig when I do it, because in my mind it was, like, bobbleheadish. I was like, hi, I'm Amir Afsar, come on in, right?
Right.
And it was, all of a sudden, I played this persona, I played this role. And even though the business was doing well financially, I really hated the job. Like, I hated the fact that I couldn't be myself. And so...
And that's what I love about that's why I appreciate about your channel, is that you are almost reinventing what you have been doing for a very long time.
Well, that was the turning point for me. For me, it was like, all right, so we're no longer going to fake this lawyer persona. We're going to actually be ourselves. And it just sort of developed its own legs from me stopping. I mean, it's so cliche to be like, I just didn't give a, anymore, right? But that's not true, because I still needed to make money. Listen, I was that kid in law school. I was the kid in high school saying, like, one day I'm gonna have my own office, blah 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 blah. So it was important to me not to fail for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, you had your goals. And
you always think, I mean, you guys do the same thing. You always think the whole world is watching you. Like, when you try something new like that, it's like you think you're the center of the universe, and everything's just, and if you screw it up, everyone's watching, even though kind of in a weird way nobody's watching.
Yeah.
But you feel like that, and so you're so nervous. I mean, I say today, I wouldn't have had the gumption to do this back when Afsar Law Group had no clients, because of course we started with 0 clients, but I would love if I had that today. And
honestly, that's where I'm going to debate you on that, because that's why I had the courage to start, because I felt like no one's watching. I didn't tell anybody I knew about my YouTube channel, because I didn't want to hear, like, you're going to start a YouTube channel and actually take that seriously. I didn't want anybody, and then, like, my first vlog.
Imagine being a lawyer and getting the same speech.
Imagine.
Like, you were in marketing, and people were like, "What are you doing on the internet?"
Right.
And not here I am, like they expect me to have a gavel and like and like the curly crazy white hair or whatever, and I'm supposed to be like in here, doling out justice. Right? I mean,
I like that.
like I'm just banging my gavel, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I totally know what you mean. Go on though. You didn't tell anybody. I mean, you literally didn't tell anybody.
I didn't tell anyone, man. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to know, and I trusted YouTube to do its thing. This is supposed to be my outlet to the world. All right. First and foremost, this is a reflection kind of thing for me. I'm quitting my job. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. My parents are mad at me. I'm failing everyone right now. So, there's a part of me that kind of like floats over my body and tells me like, that's kind of an interesting thing to watch. In the moment, I'm like scared and crying even and all these things, but it was that. It's like you wish you could look back at when you had 0 clients. I love the fact that I could look back and just be like, God, when you were at that point, when you had no idea what you were doing.
See,
kept going.
I want to go back, but I want to take Luis with me because like my video quality and editing on like episodes 1 through 10 is garbage.
Right.
Because a lawyer did it. Right. In law school, I skipped the video editing class, and so yeah, I mean, I'd like to go back. It's weird because part of me is like having a successful law practice, but at the same time, like I don't feel like this is successful because I want to grow it into so much more. So it's like I try to be careful with how I describe it. But the truth is, the law practice gives me resources to have a Luis now, which I wouldn't have had the resources to have the Luis back then.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy where I say like I wish I would have documented it, but that's not. I wish someone would have documented it. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Right. But starting now is awesome because who knows where it's gonna go?
Sure, but I want to touch on what you said because I didn't do it that way. I didn't hide from everyone the fact that I was doing this, but not for. I think most people think that they're gonna have their friends watch it because their friends will be their fans. I actually knew that this would have to grow beyond my friends if it was gonna be successful. But I felt like. Who's going to tell you? See, this is a really, really weird part of the puzzle for me, right? Because who's going to tell you if it's terrible other than like your friends? But they're your friends. They're not going to tell you it's terrible because they're your friends. Yep. And then it goes even one layer further, which is like you're not really going to believe their opinions because they're your friends anyway. So it's like you want them to like it. No matter what, they're going to tell you they like it. So then you don't listen to it anyway. So then why do you tell them? Well, see, I went through that whole. I think I just confused you there with that. But I went through this whole circular mess.
I see.
Well, it's like this weird way. To me, it's putting my own, like, judgment of myself. It's being able. I'm projecting it out now to the viewers. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just nervous myself, and like either think it's great or don't think it's great, whatever, or anywhere in between. But then I just project that out on others. So like, here, you guys watch this and tell me it's great. Tell me it's bad.
Yeah.
Then whatever they tell me, I'm going to ignore anyways and have my own opinion set. So it's just kind of this interesting. I like tortured myself a little bit in the beginning, like that.
Oh, I think everyone does in the beginning, so don't worry.
But at the same time, I have this one aunt, my dad's sister, and she hits the like button on everything. Aww. And I mean, her English isn't even that great, so I don't even think she understands half of it. But she knows that like the Facebook like button makes me happy,
Aww,
So like
cute.
So shout out to my aunt real quick, but that kind of thing is cool. And then I wanted to kind of dive into outside of YouTube. Are you a Facebooker, Instagram, or Snapchatter? Twitter?
If I had to pick a platform.
Well, you already picked YouTube, I think.
Yeah, outside of YouTube.
So outside, okay. Second place, so to speak.
Yeah. Second place is probably a tie between LinkedIn and Twitter.
Wait, what was the first one?
LinkedIn?
Yeah. Is that like a train? What is that? Is it like a train station? What is LinkedIn? What is that?
Shut up.
Of course I know what it is.
God, I was like, what?
LinkedIn to me is and I mean I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb here, but like LinkedIn to me is like MySpace. Like it's just not even in my repertoire of thought process anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I know your boyfriend's name is Tom, and I just said MySpace, and whenever I think of MySpace, I think of all of our first friend. But like maybe it's because LinkedIn is the formal business-to-business one, and I am, as I just called it earlier, lifestyle lawyering with my blog.
To do something
so I don't necessarily go straight to LinkedIn. Like I've only put a couple of my posts to LinkedIn. But I'm more in the camp of
that's the reason
Facebook.
why I do it.
Because no one else is on there doing it.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
Yeah, dude.
Because I actually love the whole counter.
You're gonna stand out in the feed because you just look different from everything else in there, versus Facebook, Instagram, which is completely saturated with like who knows what. You don't know what you're gonna get, especially on Facebook. I hate Facebook. It's really just a necessary evil for me at this point. But LinkedIn, oh my gosh, every time I post something.
Hold on. And I'll go back to LinkedIn. Don't get me wrong, because I'm interested in the LinkedIn part.
Yeah.
But Facebook just got very evil all of a sudden in your mind. Why is Facebook so evil to you?
It's not evil. It's just that sometimes I'm only using it because I feel obligated. I really the reason why
do you feel obligated? Because everybody's there.
Because my potential clientele in the Coachella Valley is there. That is the single reason why I use it.
Okay.
Single reason why I use it. So I have to, because in the Coachella Valley, that's where they are. They're on Facebook.
That goes back to our earlier topic about it's kind of aged up. Like the Coachella Valley is a little aged higher on average.
Exactly, and they're all on Facebook.
I think there's a false sense that there is no young people here, because there are definitely a year-round. There are young people that live in the Coachella Valley. I have tons of like young entrepreneurs as clients, so I don't want to like paint it with a broad brush.
Yeah.
But I do think like part of the reason Facebook is the hitter in the Coachella Valley is because we're aged up a little bit.
Yeah.
Grandma and grandpa are on there to see their grandkids. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And then they come here for the nice weather.
So there's never a strategy for me when it comes to Facebook. I just post. It's just like, if you're gonna post here, then just copy it. For LinkedIn, oh my gosh, every time I get a client, I get a message, I get a DM, that's where I get most of my clients that I will never meet because they're not in the same state. They're not even here. I've gotten one of my biggest clients, like a $20,000 client from LinkedIn.
That's great.
And that's for my YouTube coaching, for my online courses, but also for entrepreneurship, because that's a lot of what my vlog is about.
But do you think that, like for example, for me, I'm not really selling anything through the channel, right?
I get that.
But to the extent that it is a sale, you'd have to be in Southern California or in at least the state of California. Do you think the fact that you're able to coach anyone across the country, it kind of broadens the appeal of these new media avenues? Like you just said, this big client came from out of state, someone you probably wouldn't have had access to otherwise. Don't you think that's an advantage of it?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So then what do you do if you're like a local restaurant? You okay there, buddy? What do you do? I know, hopefully the back camera got that. But what do you do if you're like, look, like you just said.
If you're a brick and mortar.
Yeah, but if you're a brick and mortar, like let's say a restaurant, right?
Yeah,
what good is it that...
it's not.
Like, what good is it that some guy in Arizona sees that you make really awesome burritos or whatever because he's 400 miles away?
And this is the common question I get when I teach, marketing workshops and social media marketing workshops here in the Valley, is every brick and mortar business is like, well, that's cool that you have 7,000 followers on YouTube. Most of those people aren't here. How would that benefit me to have that same thing when most, all of my clients are going to be customers that live here? And my thing is just, in this day and age, in this digital world, having a brand that has that following, that loyalty, regardless of where they are, just gives you cred. It gives you, a reputation, a positive reputation, even if these people aren't buying from you. Case in point, there's a bakery, a brick and mortar bakery in Lexington, Kentucky, that I've been following. We connected because we're both on YouTube.
I'm already laughing, like, Lexington, Kentucky, send me a donut.
They specialize in like wedding cakes, right? Like beautiful cakes, but I'm never probably gonna go to Lexington, but I'm cheering them on from the sidelines. They're cheering me on also, and we do that cross promo when we can, but I don't think it hurts.
Now, do you think there's actually like a baker behind there rooting you on, or you think it's just the bakery's purple hair social media person hitting the like button?
No, that's straight up Jim and Martine. Jim and Martine, you can check them out on Instagram. Martine's pastry, Martine's bakery.
Hold on a second. If you're gonna plug them, then you just send me a cake. Like it's got to be fair trade. So if they see this or get anything, they don't have to get any business out of this. If my viewers and your viewers are gonna hear their name now, they owe me a cake. I like chocolate, and so...
the fact that Jim, who is Martine is the baker, he's the business guy, and they're husband and wife, and the fact that he keeps building his YouTube channel, even though he's brick and mortar, and has no plans to have some kind of online product, speaks volumes to me.
I don't have any plans.
He has people, from Germany contacted him, like, I found your YouTube tutorial on how to decorate the cake in this way. We're doing press on you, and how is that going to benefit him in the 10-mile
I have
radius?
the answer to that. It's the same thing I'm doing with making lawyers great again, like the joke I said earlier. He's making bakers great again. He's making other people, whether they will or won't taste his cakes, maybe be more interested in liking cakes, maybe make them buy a cake from their local baker, or even strike up a conversation about, hey, have you ever been able to do this that I saw on the internet at your bakery? I mean,
right, exactly.
You're not just branding yourself to some degree, you're branding the actual business of whatever.
Right.
Like, it's interesting because I know you're a Garyvee person, and I'm definitely a Garyvee person as well. But I feel like people don't recognize, he loves to say that he and entrepreneurship is cool today, and so like now he's cool. I think it's even tighter than that. I think he's making marketing cool. I think he's making being a marketing person cool. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually even dialed in more specifically than he might recognize. Because the number one business I see of people who follow someone like that are co-businesses.
Right.
Like, he actually says, people package my stuff up and then resell it as their master series, which is,
right.
that sounds actionable, Garyvee. But I'm just saying that's a bad thing, right? But at the same time, like, that's maybe what the baker's doing, and to some degree that's kind of what I want to be doing, right? I would like to see lawyers not be down at the used car salesman level when people talk about like respectable professions. It's interesting. You want your daughters to marry lawyers, or you want your daughters to be lawyers. You want your sons to be lawyers or marry lawyers, but then you want to talk a bunch of trash about lawyers. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm
just saying.
The note to self.
I'm just hanging it out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm just hanging it out there. And I have a mom who's a doctor, right? And so doctors, lawyers, accountants, like to kind of bash heads. Everybody knows lawyers are the coolest. And so, it's just one of those things where like, you recognize that everybody on the internet is doing their own thing, but to the degree that they're exposing what they do for a living, it's going to reflect in general across the entire profession. Because although there aren't really TV shows about like a social media entrepreneur like yourself, there are definitely TV shows about lawyers, right? Law and Order, Suits. I mean, you can go on and on. Ally McBeal, all different kinds and varieties. Even like comedies that are out there, right? About being lawyers. Even like movies, like My Cousin Vinny. Like the list is endless, right? And all of those things have colored and tainted and changed, some in a good way, some in a bad way, what people think of lawyers. And so to me, it's like maybe YouTube is the modern medium of television or movies.
Oh, totally.
And so now my little channel and what we're doing is kind of, one little drop in changing what people think. Like, I have a good friend of mine that asked me, like, you wore jeans and a t-shirt on an episode. What exactly are you trying to do? And I almost didn't understand the question. And it's like, well, I was just trying to be myself. That's what I wore to work that day.
Exactly.
Like, all the lawyering goes on up here, right? So, like, if I decide to wear a different clothing, I don't suddenly become a bad lawyer.
And see, this is exactly why I didn't tell anyone I knew, because that's all the stuff that, like, where I'm not even asking, that is so far beyond, like, where I'm at and what, obviously that has no impact because you know what you're doing, and how you do it. It doesn't matter how you execute. The fact is that, whether you wear this or that, whether you look a certain way, whether you portray yourself very professionally or not, that's all the stuff holding everyone else back. That's why no one else is going to start a channel. Because they're up in their head like, I gotta have a suit and tie every single time I turn the camera on. Whereas you just own it. This is me. This is my life. This is me as a lawyer.
Because sometimes I wonder, like, one of the earliest things I did, because we started the vlog as Coachella Valley summer months approached, and I thought, like, how can I possibly play the role of an intellectual attorney as I throw a jacket on and it's 120 degrees outside? And then I started thinking, like, is there an actual law that says I have to wear a shirt and tie in court?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there is, because if you come in and represent yourself and you show up, now you can't show up to the it's almost careful, I gotta be careful, like, you can't show up wearing. You can, because some of it's free speech. So you can almost, Larry Flint, like, famously wore a, big ol' F-bomb on his t-shirt. You don't necessarily have to come dressed, like, to the nines, but the lawyers do. Like, we all come in suits. What if I showed up one day in just, let's say, like a nice polo shirt? Would I be allowed to still have my case? Or the funny thing is, I'm not sure there's a law. I've never really looked this up. So, but I don't think there's a law that says I must wear a suit, I must have a tie. And then, I'm jealous of the ladies. The ladies can wear, like, tank top suits, like, and, they have so many more options. Which I'm sure I can hear it already. It's not always a positive. A lot more options. But I'm just saying, like, you can battle the heat way better than I can in my 4 layers of clothing, and I'm, putting the jacket on.
Oh my god.
It's such a disaster. Question number 2.
Oh my god.
Material things. Here we go.
I think I actually thought of my thing.
You thought of your thing?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So speaking of, my favorite thing is my boosted board, and it's because it just means so much to me. Casey is a huge influence on me. Casey Neistat, he's one of my heroes. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if not for him. And also, it was a point in my entrepreneurial journey where I made enough money, because it's a $1,200 freaking board, that I could afford to buy that comfortably with money I made myself. Even though everyone was just like, you can't do this, you're never going to make it, blah-de-da-de-da.
And when you get it, you're going to fall.
Oh, I fell.
It's like the Red Ryder BB thing, right? Like, you shouldn't have that, and then when you get it, you're going to hurt yourself.
But I did. But, I mean, it's
worth it.
It's 100%. Every time I ride that thing, I'm like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't give myself that chance that first time I picked up the camera. Because everything is just like, this is so stupid.
As a quick side note, does Casey own any part of Boosted Board? Is he like an owner of it?
I don't know.
Because if he's not, this is amazing that you would go buy basically a third-party product.
I mean, I think
and
anyone...
hold up like a trophy to Casey. And if he doesn't own it, then Boosted Board has done some amazing branding by being able to do that.
Oh,
and if he doesn't own it, kudos to Casey. I mean, I'm a Casey fan too.
I think electric skateboards are what they are because of him. And he knows that.
I also, just in full disclosure, I can't say I'm a Casey Neistat fan without saying, Dan Mace, dude. I love Brew. I just do. I think it's so good. And it's inspired us to do some things a certain way.
That's cool.
For us as well.
What's your material thing?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you, the easy answer is the car. I mean, the car has as many fans as I do on the vlog, probably. It's kind of become cliche a little bit, but it is a true story. I was that kid when I was little with Matchbox cars everywhere I went. Like, I show the fist because I was like white knuckle. I used to hold them like no air, just fist them, right? And take them with me everywhere I went. And I loved Porsches when I was little. My parents caught on to that I liked cars, and they were very good at taking me places where there were nice cars and being like, if you get a good education, you can get one of these. Like, they used to use it as a carrot.
Yeah.
I was a teenager with Porsches on the walls of my bedroom. I still have that same poster all the way till college. It now hangs in my garage where the car is. So the obvious sort of easy peasy answer is the really fancy car, sort of the cliche thing, right?
But you got it though.
Yeah, of course, and that was everything. I'll tell you, the moment I bought it buying it was way better than everything other than one thing, which is when little kids check out the car, I rev it, I do everything because like that was me. I still see myself there.
Yeah.
So like to me, that's the cliche thing. Would definitely be the car. But in all honesty, like it's not really a thing, but it's like The Office. Like for me, the number one thing is the fact that like, I mean, I love the fact that I've kind of done it. Like even sometimes I think like we should close it and do something else, which is taking for granted what we have here. And so I definitely try not to do that. But my original, to be where we are today and to look back and to know that I have an established law firm and like I feel a great sense of pride in being able to like do simple things like cover payroll.
Yeah, that, I mean, that's huge.
It's cool. It's really cool. Like I have a former employee that was able to pay for her psychology education and is now a child psychologist at a local school. And yeah, I mean, I lost a great employee when she graduated, but like, it makes me feel great to know that The Office it played like a major part in that.
Exactly.
So the Office itself for me, it's not the same thing. But The Office is definitely like
it symbolizes
my
so
thing.
much, yeah.
It makes it easy for me to come here and do work like on the weekends. Like Instagram probably gets a little cheesy to some extent when I'm like, look at me, I'm still here working.
Right.
But I try. I know the Porsche is getting views. So I feel like I have to counterbalance it. Like I don't want to give the wrong impression that like I got my law degree and then I got a Porsche because I have friends. I have other friends who have law degrees. I know other lawyers who are not as financially successful, if you will, or maybe didn't pursue a legal career that was about finances, so to speak, because there's some jobs pay less than others, obviously. So it's my way of kind of counterbalancing it because there's no way, absolutely no way I could afford that car if I wasn't putting in like the extra hours of work, and so I do feel an obligation to show it. And so yeah, I mean, Luis, when he first started, I had a don't show the car. That was kind of the rule. because I just didn't want it to be that. I didn't want it to be like the, I'm another rich guy on Instagram or whatever, and
I like that.
Man, and that is so not what I want to be. And I'll tell you, like, I like it. This is gonna sound crazy, and no one's gonna believe it, but it is so much fun when you see your clients get successful.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get a little jealous sometimes and go like, man, I went to law school. Maybe I should have just done that. But it's so great. It is so much fun. Like, people don't understand the value in helping your clients is astronomical. And maybe I'm still young and I'll get older and jaded, but that is still one of the best parts for me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, before we started recording, I had a client call me and say, like, I have a bunch of bad things going on in my personal life right now. Just settle the case. And I mean, I don't want to do that necessarily. It's not the best thing, but I get what he wants. He wants to remove stress from his life. This doesn't matter to him. Settle the case. And so, like, literally before you got here, that's what we were doing. Like, sending emails that said, everything's changed. We settle. Like, we're done. We don't care. We don't care anymore. Right? And so, I mean, that's always an option. If you're done, you're done. And this person happens to be done. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm real hesitant to say the car, though. Like,
I see why you would be hesitant, but it's the same way.
It is so cheese dick.
I mean, like,
am I allowed to say
the same thing.
Sure.
You can say the same thing about my boosted board. It's just like on the other side of the spectrum.
I don't know though. Like,
it's a luxury item.
Yeah.
This is something you never need. There's
definitely
no reason.
The bus would take me from my house to my office. I could the boosted board would work just as good. I mean, maybe not as fast.
But it's that symbol of like everything I accomplished.
There's
goals, and just you set them, you hit them, and it's like
at the end of a long day when no one else is here, when I've had to put in like the midnight oil, the drive home is way better.
See, exactly.
Way better. I mean, way better.
Kudos to you.
So I mean, I'd be lying. I mean, the thing is about the transparency of the vlog is I'd be lying if I didn't put the Porsche in the conversation though.
Right.
Like, it would be just a total lie.
Yeah.
Skill is to speak your mind. For me, it's definitely speaking your mind. I don't know. I grew up in a household where if you didn't say what you wanted, then it wasn't gonna happen. Like, if you don't like to eat this food, you better say something. Otherwise, you're expected to eat it. If you don't want to do whatever, you better say so. You better have an explanation. Like, we were treated like little adults, if you will. So I learned at an early age that, like, closed mouths don't get fed. Squeaky wheels get the oil, whatever cliche you want to use. But the funny thing is today, and especially when it comes to the vlog, it's like almost sometimes harder to do that, to like just be 100% transparent and to actually speak your mind. But eventually you end up speaking your mind. Like, you might beat around the bush and not say it in a certain way or like sugarcoat it for people, but eventually...
Hey, you wouldn't be here if you didn't do that.
Eventually you're going to have to speak your mind.
Yeah.
Plus, like, I mean...
I'm learning the hard way.
I shouldn't say this into the camera because it's going to hurt my business, but like... I would say, I don't know, half of the disputes that come across my desk, like, just starting by saying, well, this is what my client wants, gets you halfway towards, like, the resolution. The other side's like, oh, I didn't even know they wanted that. Like, I didn't even know that was a problem. So it's just, like, actually expressing your 100% truthful and honest beliefs and not necessarily being overly concerned with the repercussions. Like, don't get me wrong, don't be a jerk. Don't just be, like, an a-hole out there in the world. But at the same time, like, don't trivialize your own opinions in order to, like, blend in with everybody, I'd rather be the red striped sheep than just one of the plain sheeps with everybody else. Until slaughter day, but whatever. I'm just saying we're all going to get to slaughter day eventually. Everyone's going to die.
Well, when I made the shift from employee to entrepreneur, my entire life changed in terms of how I just go through the world, because I was always the type of person who put my head down and was just told what to do, and it never occurred to me to think for myself, which I know is weird, but I don't know, that's just how it was until I owned it and was like, I'm gonna do this YouTube thing, and all my worst fears happened. Everyone was like, da da da. But when I look back at how I lived my life, like as a kid and growing up, the one thing that I do notice that I did was I did things differently, and I don't know if I knew that in the moment. Like, for example, for school projects, I always turned, every time I could, a school project into a video. I had no idea what I was doing, but everyone turned in essays, everyone turned in their science project, 3-pane, cardboard thing, their reports, and da-da-da. I always made a video because I loved, every time I put the VHS into the TV, everyone laughed. Like, I had the teacher laughing, everyone laughed, and I was like, I like this feeling. I don't know what that is, but It never occurred to me to be a videographer or a movie person or anything like that when I was growing up because
real quick, what did you want to be like? What was in your mind as like what you're going to be? When
I never thought about it. My parents, immigrant parents from the Philippines, were like, "You have to be a doctor. That's it.
Dude,
no
it's
other
amazing.
option."
We're all doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Doctors.
Yeah. No other option, and it wasn't until I saw in my junior year of college at UCI, I saw a C-section and fainted.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And was like, I can't do this.
Okay, so real quick, I know we're trying to get we don't want to draw this out, but
yeah,
my mom, medical professional.
Oh yeah,
forced me to volunteer in the ER. It was like some of the worst days of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm probably one of the few people in the world that was like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to law school, and they were like, what? But
oh, they
a doctor? Right?
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's like, you gotta be a doctor, or we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
we're all dying instead.
So,
anyhow.
there you go.
Alright, so now
all
let's hear it. I want to go to Tom's question.
Okay, so this question comes from a fan. His name is Tom Buck, my boyfriend, and he also has a YouTube channel, The Enthusiasm Project.
And he now owes me a cake, too. You're getting a plug. We'll bleep that out, please. Just go ahead and bleep it out. His name is Tom, and when he has me come speak at his class, we'll remove the bleep. And then we'll let everyone know his channel. No, I'm playing.
But he knew we were collabing, so he had this question specifically for you. It would be interesting to hear why someone uses YouTube in a creative way to help with their business. Like, how does he make time for it? What's the driving force behind it? Love it or hate it, he's definitely not using YouTube in the stereotypical way many small businesses would.
Alright, so maybe I can start by answering the end of the question first. I don't consider this office and what I do here to be anything like any other law office. I pride myself on being the antithesis of the stereotypical attorney.
Yeah.
When I put ads up for new employees, I talk about how personality is more important than anything else. You gotta be able to get along with the people that you work with, that kind of thing. So I start by saying that I'm just not the typical lawyer. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And I mean, that's probably cliche to say that, but I don't mean I'll fight for you unlike the other guys. I mean the formalities and the stuff of it, I'm not interested in that. I like the problem solving for the clients. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the YouTube and using YouTube, I've touched on this before. I think being an attorney is a little bit of a thankless profession. Right? When going back to the doctor thing, when you have a medical problem and your doctor fixes it for you, like you have cancer and they give you treatments, or you sprain your knee and they help you get better. When you're done, when you feel better, you turn to the doctor like, oh, thank you so much. You helped me fix this. When people have a problem with their business and they come see a lawyer, when it's over, when they've been sued by another party, when it's over, a lot of times they look at the lawyer and they're like, this never should have happened to me in the first place. Like, when you hurt yourself and you go to the doctor, you don't turn to the doctor and go like, I never should have got I never should have got cancer in the first place, or like, this cost way too much money or way more than I expected. So in a weird way, both teaching the class, because I teach a class at Cal State, local Cal State San Bernardino.
Yeah.
Teaching the class has given me a way to kind of keep in touch with the youth, in my opinion. Right, that's what keeps me listening to Post Malone, because without them I wouldn't know Post Malone or Logic, and those are two of the rappers I listen to most. So it keeps me kind of I like to think in touch and keep me young, and I like to think I'm young at heart. But it's just about doing things different. How can you pride yourself on being not like other lawyers and then just go do all the things other lawyers do? I can't do it.
Drop the mic.
But I can't. It's more than drop the mic. It's not even in. Why is your hair purple?
That's a very good question.
That was my next question, actually.
My hair is purple because I was blonde for many years, and then I just was scrolling through Pinterest, and I was like, hey, I see this girl with purple hair. I don't have a boss anymore. Why not?
I think there's more to it than that.
Well, now there is. Now I will never be. I will always be purple because branding. Because it symbolizes so many things. Every time I walk into a room, boom, you just see the purple hair, and it's that perception.
But see, I think it's part of who you are. There's a reason you went purple. When you had blonde hair, you could have stayed blonde. You could have gone back to black or brown or red, any traditional hair color. You could even gone to that auburn mist color that women get to rock and treat like that's real, right? But I'm just saying, you could have gone to any traditional hair color, but you choose to go to purple. You choose to do something different.
Yeah.
And you've even answered some questions today by saying it's a desire to be unique and a desire to be myself and an unwillingness to match up to the majority or the masses. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes your hair purple. Obviously it's dye, but that's what makes your hair purple. And it's the same thing that keeps me going on the vlog. I want to keep them going weekly because the schedule, it keeps me on a schedule and I like it.
Yeah.
But being a lawyer and operating the business comes first. However, I don't ever let excuses of like I'm busy or what have you block us from filming a vlog. Right? Like the vlog is just on my schedule now, just like other appointments are. The same way I don't blow off an appointment with a client, I don't blow off an appointment with, Luis, the videographer.
You take this seriously.
And I take it seriously. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I?
Can I have a follow-up question?
Of course.
Did the idea of YouTube hit you and you were just like, oh my gosh, yes, like this makes sense, I want to do it, I'm going to jump in?
No, man, it's so hard. It's been so hard to grow on. I mean, part of why like you're a great person to have come talk is you have this following, right? You have a great big following. My following is very small. Our viewership doesn't necessarily match our subscriber count, which we talked about earlier.
Yep.
And so, no, it didn't come to me naturally. I had an idea to... You look at all the law on TV, and it's just so not realistic to what it's like. And I thought maybe by showing the realistic, you would save some people from going to law school that don't want to actually be lawyers.
Right.
And then B, you would inspire some people who think they don't want to be lawyers that actually maybe do want to be lawyers.
I like that.
Right? So those are ancillary too. Everybody hates lawyers. Let's make people not hate lawyers again. I'm a lawyer. I don't want people to hate me.
So when it comes to the maybe prospective clients part,
the prospective clients, for me, it's an interesting wrinkle that clients actually watch this stuff. I don't necessarily look at it as a specific marketing tool for the law firm as much as I look at it as marketing for the overall profession and maybe for the unique like personality traits that I bring to being a lawyer. Because I think a lot of lawyers don't ever show you their real self.
Yeah.
They don't ever want to like let you into what they're like. And they also don't necessarily want to get emotionally tied into your cases.
Right.
And I can't do that. I get emotionally drawn in, and it's just who I am as a person. Right? And so, I mean, YouTube didn't naturally fit. For me, I had the concept of the video, and I kind of drove myself to take a couple steps to make the first couple. I mean, I kind of joke around. The first 100 episodes never made it to public consumption. Right? I saw them, I made them, I deleted them. And then, when I grew up here, that's when I posted the first one. I mean, I've talked about it before. I literally went over to my parents' house to talk to my mom about how I was too chicken to post something onto YouTube, thinking that she would tell me, like, you have nothing to be afraid of. Before I could even get this story out of my mouth, my mom started telling me about how her and my dad had planned to do so much stuff in retirement, but their health problems are stopping them from doing it. And so, like, if there's anything you want to do in your life, you should just do it. And she gave me that speech without even knowing that, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, do I even have the nads to post something on YouTube? And I'm thinking to myself, like, really? I was going to ask that question? Like, look at this. Look. So then it was Mother's Day. I went home and posted the first one.
That's awesome.
Like, so, it's kind of interesting thing. Like, for me in particular, the things that have inspired me to take action on YouTube aren't necessarily that traditional, which fits in line with, like, a non-traditional attorney on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Or a person with purple hair sitting in my office chit-chatting me on what they're doing, all the great things you have going on. Because you have a lot of awesome things going on. You're in the middle of a series. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so right now I'm making videos for me at the beginning of this journey. So it's things I would have told myself. For example, the first one I did was like, you need a business card. Even in the creative space, the YouTube space, people, if you don't take YouTube seriously like a business, you're not going to grow. You have to take it seriously like a business, and that means having a business card. So when you're walking down the street and you're vlogging, someone's like, what is this for? It's for YouTube. You don't just tell them the channel. You got a business card with the channel on it so that they don't forget when they walk away 5 steps later.
That's a stinking good idea.
Yeah. I can't tell. I mean, that's why I had the booster board.
Because I got a feeling people search Unbelievable when they go home. You know what I mean? It's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Funny.
They search Unbelievable, they never see me again.
Yeah, no, you need to hit them with a business card.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people. That's how you get the local people. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I noticed
the people that stare at you like an alien. You could just hand them this instead of being like, because in that moment they clearly hear Unbelievable. I mean, I just believe it. I have a feeling. I want to know if I can check somehow the searching of Unbelievable. I bet it's gone up thanks to me.
Yeah, and on the on the YouTube card, like I put what my channel is about, so that people know, like, this is, because it's cool to be, oh, that's a YouTuber, but when I talk about, hey, I'm sharing my entrepreneurial journey, there's more to this, I show the struggle, then people are more likely to subscribe.
So I know that we could do this forever.
Yeah.
And so that leads me to believe we should probably do a part 2 at some point. So we definitely have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
But I just want to take a second and say, if you're here because of me, Afsar Law Group, Unbillable, take a moment and check out Heather Just Create.
Thank you.
You know, we appreciate you for spending your time coming and talk to us. And I will also say the following: if you're here because of her, if you're a fan of the Purple Hair, if you're in the Purple Hair Vlog Squad, if you're a Heather Just Creator, and you're seeing me for the first time, please check out Afsar Law Group, assuming that's what it's still going to be called, and our channel and Unbillable and all the things we have going on. And of course, we'd be crazy if we didn't say you have to make sure you hit the like button. If you have something that you want to share with me or Heather Just Create, or maybe you want to share the amazing color hair that you have, make sure you put a pic and a comment below. And of course, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. It'd mean a lot to my good friend Heather.
Yes.
And of course, Luis behind the lens. And with that, you'll see us and we'll see you on the next episode of Unbillable.